Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Eugene Cousins here, and do I have one hell of a high drama show for you tonight. Talking about the Speedrun Cup 5, I mean first season race of 2022, and sorry for doing this indoors, don't have a choice because there's a hellish wind outside, it's howling. Want to get this video out, it's exciting. Also got a lot of pilots that need my help, so I'm behind computer control station by HQ to send out information on the Speedrun Cup being organized in the United States and some other pilots that need help. All right, so getting into it. Speedrun Cup, what is it about? If you're new to the channel, Speedrun Cup is a medium distance cross-country race, somewhere between 140 and 180 kilometers. This year, the first season race, we made it a shorter than 100 kilometer race with 2 landings to stretch the race time out and add a new dynamic, or just a extra dynamic to it, so it's not over too quickly. Season 2021 was a really good season for Nirvana. We took all the podium positions, and we have a really good experienced team. But if you thought, if you've been following it and you thought that it was a foregone conclusion that Nirvana will win the Speedrun Cup 5, at least first season race, I'm unhappy to disappoint you. Doesn't matter what the perspective is. Anyways, it comes back to the fact that I've always been saying it. Cross-country racing is about the pilot and his skills and how he progresses as well. It's not just about his kit. What's that famous line they use in Maverick 2? It's not the plane, it's the pilot. That's exactly what it is about in cross-country racing. It's longer distances. There's a lot of pressure on you, and you as an aviator got to do a lot more calculation. You've got to be good at your navigation. You got to be good at your fuel calculations. You got to be good at making proper decisions as far as tactics go. What height you fly to fish for better headwinds and tailwinds, etc. So on the Speedrun Cup 5, I was not the champion, and I do applaud the champions in the different categories. I really, really enjoyed seeing these guys do their thing. It was really fantastic competition. Remember this, we add the competitive edge to the Speedrun Cup because that is an extra motivational factor for guys to do cross-country flying. You're flying with your buddies, the conditions are a bit rough, I'm going to turn around and get back. Same in with fly-ins. But if there's a competitive edge and there's some bigger reason you're doing this for, then you might be motivated to push your limits and share the skies at the same time with experienced pilots and learn something, become a better aviator. That's what this program is about. And there's going to be more Speedrun Cups all over the world. And hopefully, United States, next location, and hopefully we'll add some more of those races, different locations in the United States as well. All right, so without further ado, let's get into Speedrun Cup 5. Skywalk Paragliding Club at Harderperspoort Dam, one of the biggest fields we have, one of the biggest clubs. They got tons of pilots. We had more than 23 pilots competing in this year. 3 different categories. First one is race class, most advanced pilots flying in that class. And then you have the rookie class, which is sub 3-year category. Those are the guys that fly something like an Ozone Roadster, Dudig Solar, or Dudig Universal. They've just, they're a little bit green when it comes to the cross-country experience, and they're pretty much there to learn. And maybe some of them could be cheeky enough to think that they can take on the big guys. But it doesn't matter. It's all fun. They're competing against themselves. It's a bit unfair for them to compete against advanced pilots with very fast gliders. Then we have the tri-class, anything with wheels stacked together in the same class. All right, so what happened? All the gliders folded out. We voted that the rookies take off first. The pressure was really on from the beginning that the safety officer was pushed to get the advanced pilots in the air as well because it was getting hot, and there was a bit of wind forecast coming. Big mountain that we had to cross twice, and you wanted to do that in the safest possible conditions. So eventually, when safety officer said the gates are open for the advanced class, we got airborne. Now, we got this great app here that I'm going to really push you guys, all of my subscribers, to get on to Gaggle. It's a great app where you can see your friends flying, you can meet up with them in the sky, you can do something together. And as far as group events and fly-ins go, you could see all of the participants within a group. It's group event friendly. And so the Speedrun Cup, we had a lot of spectators watching this. You could see all the pilots flying on the same map. It looks like a map like you will see on Google Earth. In the post-flight, and you'll see the overlays on the same video that I'm making of how I'm the hound chasing the rabbit, and how cool that actually looks in the post. All right, so as the pilots get off the ground, we have Team Metalbacks with the Polinis and the flow RPMs, and they were just gunning it, man. They got into the air first, and they were out of there. They were just doing so good. Team Nirvana, on the other hand, Team Dudek and Nirvana, we had a hard time getting off the ground. I don't screw up ever with the Warp 2, and for some reason, something went wrong with me that morning. It was, Murphy's Law. I can't say that something specifically was wrong because I had to reset and I got off the ground, no problem at all. But I could feel that this wasn't my day, but I was, I'm not a quitter, so I'm going to chase it down and see how far I can get. So by the time I got airborne, I got a whole bunch of race pilots in front of me, and that's my kind of game. They don't call me a hyena for nothing. I'm biting at the ankles, so I'm this hound chasing the rabbits. And I'm telling the story from my perspective, even though it's not just about me, it's about all the pilots and the champions that took part in the Speedrun Cup, but at least I can tell the story from my perspective because I was filming. All right, so chasing it down, and eventually got past a few pilots, some of my own team members as well. And there was a 5 kilometer distance between me and the race lead pilots, and I was able to chase them down to probably within 1 kilometer of the first checkpoint. And so the nice great thing about the Warp 2, it's got this power attack function where you can just step on the bar, stay on the bar, and just set it for landing speed, and just do your turn, kick off the bar, and just land on it and be ready for landing speed. So I was able to save time in the air and with the experience that I had. But on the ground, things were just not going my way. And, for sensitive viewers, ignore all the cursing that's coming, put earplugs in your ears. Don't let your kids watch it, but, a good cursing session in Dutch is sometimes a bit of a good stress reliever, Cursing in any language, but Dutch is pretty good. So you'll hear me cursing there because I had my lines there in the grass. I wanted to go straight up into the headwind. So I crossed the runway, line my lines up. The lines are just stuck in the grass, these little thin lines of the Warp 2. Bloody hell, I just can't get myself sorted out. And I spent more than 5 minutes on the ground. Come on. Fuck off! Fuck off!
Brits Airfield, this is Golf Sierra Papa, Parabout there, asking permission.
Fuck off! Ground, untangling brake handles and getting lines sorted out, it just started working for me. This is not me, this is not me, this is not how I am, this is not the kind of stuff that I suffer with. everybody gets off the ground, and eventually I get off the ground as well. I didn't have a blown takeoff. They had a pretty good takeoff, but one of the Polini races, he got twisted around, and maybe his line got hooked in that same grass problem, and he got a prop busted up. Bit of a nasty little bit of a crash there with a prop bust. But anyway, get off the ground, and now I'm again. Got the same pilots in front of me again, hound chasing the rabbit, and I could see the race lead was about probably more than 5 kilometers ahead of me, but it was a longer stretch, so I had more time to make up the space. So I was able to move into third position. I had visual of them. Now we got to cross the mountains, and now tactics come into play. It was a tailwind of 11 knots pushing us, so we could, you know that you're going to hit an updraft going up that mountain, so you don't have to have a high approach. But on the other side, you know that you're going to get tumbled down with rotor, and that is very dangerous. Never fly in rotor. But having so much faith in my warp 2, my experience, and and what I've done before, I knew that this glider can handle it. Just go trims open, on the tip steering toggles, and going through it. And so I sneaked over the mountain. I could see I was diving below the level of the mountain, and you can see the footage. It's rock and roll, baby. I am just flying right through this, and I'm enjoying it. I know that this machine is going to handle it, another wing is going to handle it, and I was able to gain up and get more space on the others. They were at a high altitude, and they're on a descent as well, so they can't be gunning it too much more. So I was able to pass the NRT pilot Jaco Swanepoel, and that's also in Nirvana. But then Jerry, which is race lead, I got in next to him and just kicking the bar, and I was able to overtake him. And with that power attack, same type of power attack landing, I was able just to get first on the ground. But something in the back of my head told me something is wrong, because that last 10 seconds of landing, my engine died on me. I lost RPM and the engine died on me. I thought, wow, that's so weird. That's not supposed to happen. How many other things can go wrong? I chopped off my shoelaces. I couldn't get my lines right. I had tangled up brake lines. What's going to be next? And basically, as I'm ready for takeoff, I didn't have any help. I didn't need to refuel. I could see Jerry was having someone who was coming over and helping him refuel and set out his glider. But I did my own thing there, and the lines got tangled a little bit. But whatever else, I'm ready for takeoff. nothing's going to happen. This machine just, it's just turning over, nothing's happening. I prime and I can see the fuel pissing out, but there's air coming into the system, I know it. So eventually I just gave up. Got another pilot with a trike coming in, and he's ready to go, and he's taken off, but his lines get chopped up, and he breaks his propeller, and he's out of the race. Yaku, that's now the NRT, was in second position. He actually tries to take off in a direction, but he messes that up, and he chops off one of his lines. And so the pressure is on everybody to perform well, and it didn't go so well. Anyway, I'm digging there in the back of my engine, the engine's hot, so I'm looking there to try and find out where's this fuel line, where's this leak, where's this problem, where's the air coming from. And I find that one of my fuel lines was scraping and chafing off on the engine, and that's where the air was coming into the fuel line system. And so I knew that was a problem. That's it. I don't even carry tools anymore, man. I've been through 3 Icaruses and how many other cross-country races and adventures, and I've never had a breakdown in Nirvana, so I've never had a problem to or need a tool, so I just stopped carrying it. I don't even have a freaking knife to cut and try and do a fuel fix there. But I got someone with a side cutter. I cut the fuel line off, tried to fix it. Wasted about 30 minutes on the ground. But eventually I got airborne, and by that time Jerry had landed, he had won the Speedrun Cup 5, and I made the mistake as well. That's how many mistakes can you actually make. And I opened up the reserve fuel bladder, and the air came into the system, and that air bleeded into the carburetor. And so I did 10 minutes and whooped the engines out, and I landed into a bunch of chicken coops, chicken farm and whatever else. Fix that up, disconnect the reserve fuel tank and prime it out, and all the air's out. Make sure that the fix on the fuel line is still working, and take off. And eventually, all I wanted to do at that point was just prove to myself that I'm not a quitter, and I wanted to finish the race. So that was really good for me to just make sure that I finished the race. But to the champions, the guys that won in their classes, Jerry had a solid race on his Polini and his flow RPM. That was a very solid performance. He had made no mistakes. He made good tactical decisions. The machine lasted. It was reliable. And so hats off to him. He deserves every single bit of praise that everybody can give to him as far as the cross-country community goes. And we'll be dishing it out on the Speedrun Cup 6. This is a rotating cup, and we have several races per year. This is not a once-off per year kind of deal. So it's an exciting thing to be part, and it's an exciting thing to get involved with. All right, so rookie class, one of my students, Byron Prinsloo, he was able to, I think he finished his course about a month ago. He's barely got his license number, and he was just banging it away on his solo in Nirvana, and he won the rookie class. And I'm really proud of him because he had the right kind of training, had the right gear, and through the Speedrun Cup and the cross-country experience he's building up, you can just see that talent and that experience blooming into what is going to be an absolutely fantastic pilot. And in the trike class, it was Mr. Consistency, Yaku, that he's a senior, but he flies a big-ass trike with an Orca XX, and I can tell you that he was up against some really good guys. One of the pilots was a Icarus pilot, and he had that small accident with chopping the lines. Very unfortunate, but shit happens. That's how it goes. And so consistency can sometimes, maybe not speed, but consistency can be enough to pull you through into a trophy cup. So congratulations to the winners. I applaud you. You guys did the absolute best effort possible, and I'm really proud of being associated with you guys. And I'll be seeing you on the next race. Just some couple of facts. I think there's a lot of questions. I always get these YouTube questions afterwards and emails about performances. What do I think? How did this do? How did that do? I think the Polini did really well. I think the reliability of the engine, it's a good engine. As far as, I try to get everybody to share their stats. I think Jerry the winner, flew a size 23 glider. And he did 1 hour 36 minutes, which calculates to about 8.125 liters per hour. I think the stats are on the screen. So when you're pushing the Polini hard and flying full speed bar all the time, that's the kind of fuel burn you're going to get out of the 202 when you're pushing it really hard. It's a pure combustion engine, but it's water cooled, and therefore you can push that engine hard. Nirvana and Polini have got 2 different approaches to getting to the same result. The Polini is obviously a lot heavier than the Nirvana, but the point is that you're trying to get reliability and good fuel economy to come from that. As far as Francois and myself, I think Francois was in second or third position. I'm not 100% sure. They're still checking out those gaggle facts to make sure about that. Francois was the other NRT flying an F200. He's 110 kilo pilot, flying an F200 with a warp 122, and he used 5.5 liters an hour, which is exactly my same on the F200 warp 218 that I flew. Also got 5.5 liters an hour burn rate. So pretty good numbers. We had enough power to power the speed bar on our fast gliders. I got that 5.5 liter fuel burn on a average speed of 71 kilometers an hour. You can check out those facts on Gaggle. It's fully recorded. And then Jerry, I think he mentioned his Gaggle was saying 62 kilometers an hour average, and that fuel burn will put him at 8.1 liters for that 62 kilometers an hour. Guys, those are some of the comparable facts of the speeds. If that doesn't prove to you that even if you have the fastest glider, fastest gear, doesn't matter. It's about the pilot, and the pilot needs to make good decisions, and he needs, and as he progresses with his skill rate, and and on the specific day, if he has a good strategy, that could mean victory. So don't be discouraged if you're flying something that you think is going to be slow. Consistency can win a fight out in the sticks, and you never know if trouble's going to hit the other guy. So get involved in cross-country racing. It is the next level in paramotoring. It will improve your skills in all sections of paragliding. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be seeing you on Speedrun 6.